Good morning. It's Saturday, and I hope that you're having a pleasant weekend and that you're doing well. I thought it was about time for me to poke my head up out of the rabbit hole that I have been living in for a little bit not a little bit, Carol, let's be honest, for a while, so that some of you who are new to my channel and those of you who are old friends will understand what has been going on. None of it terrible. However, it has taken me aback and made me think things through, and I've decided to share it with you. I am now officially a cancer survivor. However, I'm having to work very hard at surviving being a cancer survivor. It doesn't go away with the snap of a finger. The treatments that I had were very strong and thorough, and they did work, but they left me diminished in small ways, which hopefully, the operative word there is hopefully, will be improving slowly over the next year or a little bit longer. It's quite incredible the way at the end of your journey you hear the truth about how long these things really take. And I am an impatient girl. I thought that, well, maybe a couple of months and I'll just be back to myself again. Well, don't I just wish? However, I had been kind of steering myself down the slow stitch path before I was diagnosed, and it was something that I thought, well, I can do this. I've always done it. No reason not to. And then I found that as a result of one of my particular chemos, that I have a numbness in the tip of my fingers. Not in my hands, thank heavens, but just down here in the tip of my fingers. And of course, that's where the needle goes. Let me give you an example. The last time we were together, I started working on this piece. Now, this is a piece of magnificent antique fabric that I got from Rachel at Roxy Creations, and I picked this one just because I love the look of the fabric so much. And I inked a stamp that I had and stamped the fabric, and it worked well. And then I applied this large piece of lace and pinned it down. I did this stitching around the outside of the petals, and when I did it, I found that it was the fabric was too heavy for me, too heavy for my fingers in this stage of my recuperation. I thought, oh well, let's just do attach this piece of lace. Well, it did go easier as far as handling the needle and thread. However, I still faced the same problem with the thickness of the fabric that I had, in all innocence, chosen for this project. So I attached the piece of lace down all around the outside edge, and then of course I've got to skip around in here and attach it further so that it won't pooch out with time. Well, that was easy peasy in my mind. The reality was, I can't do this. Not now. Not at this point with my fingertips. So, that's the reason that this is laid out like this and not touched, and I would be not telling you the truth if I were to say that it didn't bother me. It did. Not to the point of feeling sorry for myself, because I had to keep saying to myself, well, you're alive and well, so you need to cope. And so I've been coping, but I have not been pushing myself forward the way I feel as though I should be doing. So here I am today sharing this with you, and I thought I would show you the reason that I stopped this project and the reason why I had to stop this project. So, because my fingertips don't work doesn't mean that my mind didn't work and go on. I thought first I would share this first piece of slow stitchery. Some of you have already seen it, but some of you who are new to my channel have not seen it. This was my first piece of slow stitching, thanks to Anne at Handmade by Anne. Anne Brooke has a gift that will not quit, and so I was still able to, my fingertips were fine at this point, and I was able to produce this piece of slow stitchery on a piece of felt that I cut out. And it took quite a while to do, but it was great fun, and I was really quite proud of this original piece. And I thought, well, I'll be doing this again. Yes, I will, hopefully. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed that I will be. And before I set this aside, in fact, I think I'll just push it up out of the way. I'll take this piece down and bring it over to show you, to share with you. This is a piece of what I would call my version of slow stitchery. This is a piece of original needlepoint that I created in probably about 2010 or 11. And this is done on light blue needlepoint canvas. These are just put down here on my whim. I did some needle weaving around the branches of this small shrub, and I did some heavy stitching wrapped around. I wrapped some of these branches of the tree that show here. This is these are wooden balls that I covered in DMC floss, and as you can see, the ground here is just whatever came over me to do. I have some silk ribbon here, but silk ribbon is certainly not necessary for a project like this. DMC floss would work just as well. There is a way of handling it. This is DMC floss. The background here, DMC floss. These bits, they're a little bit heavier than DMC floss. But as you can see, this was, I think, an early example of slow stitching before it took off the way it has, and it is mind-bogglingly fun because you can put as much or as little into the project as you wish. The sky on this blue canvas is probably one of the simplest stitches on earth. It's rather than a cross stitch, it's a box. I call it a box stitch. I use it very often because, as you can see, it makes a statement without being overwhelming, and to be so completely simple as to be as easy to do as cross stitching. So I just wanted to show you that this is probably part of the reason that I was having a little snit with myself because of my fingertips. And probably a small percentage of that was feeling sorry for myself. But as I seem to be improving on other ways, it's very, very slowly, oh so slowly, too slowly for an impatient person. But I am improving, and I decided that I need to think of ways to deal with this so that I can work on things that my fingers will tolerate. So I'm going to put this here. No, I think I'll put it back out of the way. I'll leave this, and I'll bring this over to share some ideas that I've been having. This, and for those of you who do not know it, this is needlepoint paper. Yes, they do make needlepoint paper, and you can find it at a needlepoint shop, a shop that features needlepoint, or you can find it on the internet. This is the back side, And as you can see, it looks very much like needlepoint canvas. But this being paper, yes, I've done some very dry watercolor on here. It's open to sketching with a pencil. Endless possibilities arrive, and this is called needlepoint paper. For those of you who are interested in looking, this piece happens to be silver. They do make it in gold and silver, and it works very easily. It works the same way that canvas would, so that anything you can do stitch-wise you can do on here. So I'll set that down over here, and then I had some patterns for pieces that I thought, well, these are interlaced cross stitches, banded cross stitches, and interwoven cross stitches, all of which are based on cross stitches. Now, for those of you who say, "Oh no, I can't do needlepoint, I can't do it. Look at it, it's craziness, it's complicated." Let me explain, and please take my word for it. This is a piece of needlepoint canvas, and you see all it does is it provides holes. And I thought in my case right now, the fact that the hole is there already might be a big help for my fingertips. So I'm going to give it a try, and we'll see what happens. And if it works out, I'll be sharing with you. And I will not be sharing with you at this level of stitchery because that would be defeating the purpose of slow stitching. We want to do things that are doable and fun. The operative words: relaxing, fun, and doable. But needlepoint canvas, let's look here. The canvas is just threads. You do not think of the holes for any reason other than the place to stick the needle. The thing about needlepoint is the threads that go horizontally and vertically, the holes are just there for the place to put your needle. So, this drawing shows a banded cross stitch. Stitch number 1 comes up in this hole. Any place you want to put it here. Just bring the needle up from the back. And that would be your first stitch, number 1. And then you would count across diagonally. Now on this job you have to count diagonally. You do not have to count diagonally on everything. And in many cases, the easiest needlepoint, you do not use diagonals. But you have a diagonal. 1, you see where these 2 threads cross? Remember, needlepoint is about the threads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go down at number 2. Go down in the hole. The hole is not part of the design. It is just where to put the needle. You come down over 1, 2, 3, 4 threads. Put the needle down in 3. I'm sorry, bring it up in 3, because you went down, up, down, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I thought, well, let's see if we don't have a way of me working with this and sharing some of these things with you. As you can see, when they're larger and spread out, these are just cross stitches. Up at 1, down at 2, alrighty? And if you want to have 2 colors working at the same time, all of this is complicated, all of this is advanced. That's not what I'm going to be interested in sharing with you. So I shall be getting out my books and finding things that will be fun and easy to do. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that my fingertips cooperate with needlepoint canvas. I do have some pieces of needlepoint canvas in colors available on my Etsy shop. Needlepoint canvas is in itself rather expensive. A yard piece, that would be 36 inches width, runs about $95. That's why you buy it. It's what you need. In other words, I often go in if I want a color particularly. I will say, may I have 12 inches, please? If I know I'm going to be doing something small, I might even say, can I have 9 inches? And it cuts right up the track there between the two threads, cuts up perfectly straight, and you get to pay for 9 inches rather than $95 for the whole piece of fabric. But it is well worth it, and I thought some of you might be interested in keeping this in your mind for future reference if you're interested in learning some of these stitches. The fun about needlepoint canvas is it cuts so easily. As I said, your scissors follow the whole track between two threads, and the line is perfectly straight. If you wish to cut at an angle or you wish to cut in a design, no problem. You can cut along the outside. In other words, if I wanted to cut out this piece, I would cut out along here and just let my scissor do the walking, and then I would cut straight across this track right here, and then I would come down and down to here and cut through this track, and it would be a perfect cut. Then if I decided that I didn't like this one, I wanted it to be a little bit closer, I could recut, no problem. So I'll stop on that subject now because I have to see if I can't get this to work for myself, and it's what I might wish to teach you because I think you will enjoy it. It's fun to do, and it would be a nice addition to your slow stitching. This paper is something that you might want to think about. I think a package of paper contains 2 or 3 sheets, and it is certainly not the price of real needlepoint canvas. It is, after all, paper, and it does take a design. In other words, let's put a flower over here. Here's the center of the flower. Here's a petal. Another petal. Another petal. Another. And the last one, a stem here. As you can see, you have your own original flower design to stitch. I do hope that you have understood what I've been sharing with you and why I've been sharing and why I have been incommunicado for a while, but I'm hoping to find ways to get back to some slow stitching, but also to my making of ephemera. I am sadly lacking when I see Rachel and some of the other stitchers that I follow, Gail Augustinelli and so forth, and Andrea at Artie Mays, have boxes just chucked full of ephemera. I realize that I'm sorely behind and need to catch up. So I shall be certainly getting back to them, because it does not really require that much diligence and use of fingertips. So I do hope you have understood why I have been hiding behind a rock in a cave well, I didn't go too far down the rabbit hole. I kind of could see the cave entrance, but I was kind of sitting back there with my back to the wall and my legs up, and I have to admit I was probably pouting a while, but now that has to stop. So I hope to see you soon. If you have enjoyed visiting with me, please give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And thank you very much for joining me. Talk to you again soon. Bye now.